Our rights did not come from the governments, they came from God himself. That is false. That is false because it was men, it was white men who ratified the United States Constitution. The Constitution was created by men. God himself did not write nor ratify the United States Constitution. John Locke is a heavy influence of our constitutional republic, and John Locke himself, within the two treaties of government, argued against having God as the center of a government. God being the center of a government is why a monarchy exists. We are not a monarchy because we do not have God as the center of government. Now, when conservatives push on this theocratic, argument, they are speaking of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. That is voided out by the United States Constitution under Article 6 Supremacy Clause, which says the Constitution, not the Declaration of Independence, is the law of the land. What they position is a wanting into the 1777 Articles of Confederation, right, where states are supreme and you leave it up to the states. That's what created and transitioned into an argument for slavery, right? Even in the Constitution, the argument that states should decide for themselves rather than balance that out with federalism, right? The federal government and the constitutional supremacy, right? Because above the federal government, above the states, above the people is the Constitution. We are bounded by a Constitution, by a social contract, not written by God, written by people, written by men. Okay, we are in a living constitution because we have a population of diverse people. We should not be bounded under the argument or written text of a religious text. That is Christian nationalism. This Congress majority is promoted by Christian conquest. That is misaligned to our constitutional republic, and you think having an oath to the Constitution means anything to them when they are promoting textualism of their religion. They don't give a fuck about the Constitution. This is treason against the constitutional order. This is treason against the constitutional government. This is an unconstitutional government. This is an unconstitutional majority Congress. This is an unconstitutional majority Supreme Court. Now, what we're gonna do about that we have to go back to American theory. American theory does not allow for dissolution of the constitutional order, even through legislation, even through the courts. This is a supreme order unless there is an amendment, and there is none. The fact that we stand by and accept this as the new norm, that is your fault. That is your fault in accepting the new normalizations. But what we have to acknowledge is that the United States and other countries could have prevented the Holocaust, but the argument was that there was no legal authority to do so. Okay? So by the time Nuremberg trials was capable of doing anything, 6 million were gone. The fact that you think that we can utilize some kind of shame, some kind of, value system in order to tell them that they're wrong, in order to, vote them out, when in fact they are preserving their elections, they're preserving their future. And you think that American systems will work when they don't give a fuck about our constitutional dynamics? They don't give a fuck because they never have. And this is the thing, because Democrats have been sitting on their ass for decades as Republicans have been telling us exactly this, that they want this. So it's not even about 2024 not having majority, even before, because they felt that if they fought to the maximum, they would be considered as radicals, they would be considered as leftists, they would be considered as socialists, and Republicans took leverage of that fear and promoted and maximized on their power, right? And now we're here, and the point is we have Democrats as our only vehicle, which includes primarily our state governments. But ultimately, what we must recognize is that this is a white nationalist, Christian nationalist government that does not care about constitutional principles, does not care about laws and regulations. In fact, they will reshape laws and regulations in order to force you to say, well, it's lawful, so what can I do? But remember, the Holocaust was lawful, so what could you do then? They are saying it out loud. The constitutional rights did not come from government. They came from God. When we know from the 1789, when it came into force, the Article 6 Supremacy Clause, that the Constitution, not God, is supreme to the United States of America.